Good morning, everybody. So we're on our way to West Salem. We got a high-speed John Deere planter to go take a look at and do a little optimizing before season. Let's go check it out.
Okie dokie. So we're going to be doing a row runoff on a high-speed exact emerge today. Oliver, what are you doing?
Putting the seed in the mini hoppers right now.
Why?
Because we're going to run a 2,000 seed test on this each row.
So, like Oliver said, he's our wonderful salesman out of West Salem that puts up with my dumb stuff every day. This is an exact emerge planter, so this is John Deere's high-speed brush belt system unit. If I can get this off here. Get around the hoses. So you'll notice that it does not look like a traditional meter from Deere, so it's got more of a bowl size disc on it. So in that bowl size disc, we've got a much larger seed pool down here that we're going to be pulling from. And when you take into account the seed pool that's down here versus the seed pool that goes all the way to the top here, you're roughly about 2,000 seeds are what you can fit in there. The reason we put 2,000 seeds in is so that we can fill them up and we can actually do a row runoff test on these units. So the goal behind the row runoff test is to make sure that all these rows are actually working correctly. So if we're looking at like row 3, we can link into our phone and do a row runoff test on it to ensure accuracy. It'll tell us singulation, it'll tell us skips, and if we have any doubles. What's up, Riley? Yeah, I know it. I'm just in the way of everything today, aren't I? So the reason that we do this is so that we can tell if we have problems ahead of time. Think of it as all these row units become their own test stand. So we can figure out if there's an issue with, say, row 3 over row 1. If we have low singulation, if we have a bunch of skips, we can start with making adjustments first or see if we see anything that sticks out. If we don't see anything with that, then we move it along and we escalate it to checking the parts, checking to see if we have a vacuum leak somewhere, and just try and nail down why we can't get that. Because realistically, with all these row units, there's really no reason we shouldn't be running that 98-99% singulation with a good coefficient of variation. So we're going to get her set up and do a row runoff and take you along on that. So before we move on and do anything, one of the things that we always do at the dealership is we make sure that there's no updates for the display. So we've already downloaded updates offline through Wi-Fi. So we're going to go ahead and install them right now just to make sure that we're ahead of the game and we're on the latest software, trying to eliminate as many problems as possible right off the bat. We can see we got a license agreement here now that we've updated terms and conditions, so we go ahead and accept that. We know we're on the most up-to-date software that there can possibly be now. The layouts have already been set by our salesman, so this is going to be our main run page that we're going to run off of. But in order to do a row runoff, there's two methods of doing it. The first one is we can go into SeedStar. If we go into Diagnostics and Calibrations, we can go to Procedures, and then we have our runoff procedures. So this is where we can do it on the display. So we can set it up, tell it how many thousand seeds we're going to be planting. So this shows 30.0 thousand seeds. So this is 30,000 seeds an acre. Our test speed is 5 miles an hour. And then what row we're running it on. So that is the row unit runoff. If we change it to a meter, it's all the same except we have number of seeds as well. So we can target it to only spit out 2,000 seeds on row 1 at 5 miles an hour with a target of 30,000 seeds per acre. And then it's going to feed us all this information on the bottom here to tell us if we are putting out accurate seed count and if we have a good row unit. Now you'll see there's a button right here. This is for connecting an iPhone, Android phone, iPad, whatever, to your equipment mobile app, and we can do the row runoff off of our phone, so we don't have to come up here and change our rows, start and stop it all the time from up here in the cab. Now the way to do that is we have to actually go into our Isobus VT menu and select down here to our main menu and go to our wireless data server. So from in here, we can set up the data server itself. We have to give it a wireless password so that we can link up to the Wi-Fi that this planter puts off on our phone. We can connect it to the app and then run it off of that app to do the exact same job
but we can stand behind the planter and do it all the time instead of doing the catch test at the back, running up here to the front, changing our parameters, running to the back, running up. Saves a lot of time and wear and tear. What we are looking at here is the row runoff procedure on the display. So right now I am running off row 4, and the main things that I'm paying attention to are on the right side of the screen. On the right side of the screen you can see our singulation, our multiples, our skips, and our spacing, along with our current vacuum pressure. So the main one that I'm paying attention to is my spacing. The spacing number is my coefficient of variation for my seeds. So if I lay all my seeds out on the ground and I have my population set, and that population is dictating that I have to have 8 inches between each seed, that coefficient of variation, or that spacing number, is the percentage of difference from seed to seed. So right now my number is 0.08. That means there is a 0.08% difference in spacing from the first seed to the next seed. So that's a really, really good number when we get down to that 0.08 or less. The other things I'm paying attention to are my multiples and my skips. And multiples being extra seeds in the trenches, and skips being less than 1 seed put in the trench, or I'm missing a seed in the trench. So those numbers are going to dictate where my vacuum pressure should be at. So if I have too many multiples, my pressure might be a little high. If I have some skips, I might not have enough vacuum pressure on my meters. And then if I still can't get those figured out, or if I have an individual row problem, I can adjust those numbers based off of making adjustments in my double eliminators within the row unit, or I can look for vacuum leaks in the row unit or worn parts that may need to be replaced. If I want to access this from my cell phone, I have to go into John Deere's Equipment Mobile, go to my Implements page, and then I have to click on my planter. From here I can go to my Tools tab, and then I can select Row Runoff. If you don't know how to hook up your phone to the Wi-Fi network on the planter to do this, you can look through a step-by-step instructions through the app to accomplish this. Otherwise, for this instance, we're just going to view the demo. As you can see in the demo, we can see our singulation, our multiples, and our skips as the row unit is running, along with our vacuum pressure, the population we're putting down, and our seed spacing or coefficient of variation. I can start and stop the runoff from here and adjust the vacuum pressure and what row I am running on. So I can start and stop it to make adjustments as I please.
Well, we're outside now. Everything checked out really well. We were able to get all of our units right to 100% singulation. That coefficient of variation, super low. So this planter should have no problem looking like a picket fence when it gets corn in the ground. Only had to make a couple of vacuum adjustments as we ran. No major worn components, no vacuum leaks. So as far as the test goes, this is as good of a test as you could ever hope to have with one of these planters. So we're going to get her to the field once we make some adjustments on the liquid system, and it's going to be a good planter. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.